Okay, so Scooter has a very important announcement. It's something he really wants to get off his chest and tell me. He's been very nervous about it all week, but he's going to let it out today. So come join me.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open.
Hello you guys, and welcome to another episode of Irish Country Life here in the west coast of Ireland. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nikolai, and together with Chris, my film crew, and the little man Scooter, who's gone off chasing the pheasant this morning on this lovely frosty sunny morning. Today I'm going to be decorating the fireplace in the Château room for Christmas, as you can tell from the Christmas jumper. I'm very much in the Christmas spirit at the moment, and I'm starting to get the house all ready for Christmas. Christmas puddings, cake, mince pies, the lot. The house just smells amazing of cloves and cinnamon from all the pine cones everywhere. And so I'm going to do a very simple fire dressing on this mantle piece today. There's not very much involved. I've just gathered a few bits and pieces. I've gathered some foliage from the garden. And so without further ado, I'll get on with it. There's no method to this. I'm just going to do it as I'm going along. And fingers crossed, hope that it looks some way decent at the end of it. So join me as I decorate the fireplace in the Château room. Okay, so I'm going to start by just adding some bits of foliage. I found these lovely twigs in the garden with lovely pine cones. They've come off the tree, so we've got them, which I'm going to place there, and some ivy. Okay, so in my head, the kind of theme I've got going on here that I want is I kind of want the hunt. So there's going to be a lot of horns, stag's heads, things like that going on. And that's just something that came into my head, kind of like a Scottish baronial style hunting fireplace that I'm going to try to create. So now I'm putting my stags on there, my 3 gold stags, which are beautiful, and I'm going to put a few feathers. And I also want to put some feathers in here. So it's a little bit like we've been on a hunting shoot. And high up in the forest mountains, we have some lovely little bears who are watching over. These aren't going to hurt the stags. They're all friends in this little winter wonderland that I'm creating. So you don't need to be fearful. There's not going to be any violence or any animals hurt in the process of this. And I'm just going to add some of my little pheasant birds here, which are going to... They've heard the gunshot, so they're going to start flying up. They're flying all over the place. Now, let's see what we're doing. Okay, so I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking I don't really need to do very much else to it. So we've got our pheasants, we've got our wolf, we've got our little bears, we've got our forest floor here, we've got some pine cones, we've got some stags, we've got some horns, we've got some lovely feathers, and I really feel we don't need to do very much else to this wonderful fireplace. I'd like to say keep it simple, that sometimes less is more, but a lot of people would say that is definitely not keeping it simple. However, for me, that's keeping it simple. So I hope you enjoy. I kind of think it looks a bit magical myself, and hopefully you would agree. And God bless whoever gets to spend a night in this wonderful bed over Christmas and get to enjoy this beautiful, may even spend a night myself here. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope you enjoy. And everybody just get creative for Christmas. Go to the park, gather foliage, go to the forest, get some moss off the floor, get lots of greenery and real stuff and start putting it in the house. You'll be amazed at the smells and what you can create from just some very simple decorations. Somebody said recently, a girl put a photograph up on Facebook, and she said, you don't need a lot of money to decorate a house beautifully for Christmas. And somebody replied back and said, yes, but you do need a beautiful garden, because most of the stuff she'd put was from our garden. So yes, so just gather up whatever you can and be creative. There's no wrong and there's no right. Hopefully there's no wrong and no right. Just let your senses run wild and be fabulous. Oh my God, the relief. You are not going to believe how relieved I am. Scooter has just given me the news from his announcement, and my heart was in my mouth, because he told me, which is fantastic news, that he's going to get married in the summer of next year to the lovely lady down the road, Maggie, his girlfriend, his long-time girlfriend. So they have decided to stop living in sin and tie the knot. However, my biggest fear was that he was going to move in with Maggie down the road. And that house down the road is not suitable for a king like Scooter. It really is not up to scratch to my standards. So I was really, really upset. My heart was in my mouth wondering, what is he going to say next? And then he tells me that Maggie and him have decided that they're moving up here. And he's going to move her in, he's going to make an honest lady of her, and they're going to take over the Chinoiserie room. Well, how amazing is that news, folks? I am just delighted. Scooter, you're not leaving me after all. You're bringing me a new wife. Another mouth to feed, but that's okay. We are all very happy about that news, and we do hope that you are all truly delighted also. Okay, you guys, so after decorating the fireplace in the chinoiserie room, it's now time to make some lovely treats to have later with a nice cup of tea. And so what I'm going to make for you today, as it's Christmas, I'm going to make some mince pies. And I'm going to make a pastry, which is my Christmas shortcrust pastry, because it's got the addition of orange zest and juice to the pastry. So we're going to make the pastry now, and then we're going to let that chill, and then we're going to assemble our mince pies. And I last year made my own mince meat for the mince pies, and I left it all year fermenting in the brandy and the spiced rum and everything. So we're going to use that, and I'm sure they're going to be wonderful. Yesterday, I just added the addition of chopped almonds, which I toasted. So we'll have them mixed in with the filling. And so hopefully these are going to be really, really delicious mince pies. Unfortunately, you're not going to get to taste them unless you make your own. So therefore, I hope to see that people are making them. So in this pastry, we have, this will make 36 mince pies, okay? If you want to make half the amount, then you just half the recipe. So 450 grams of plain flour, 220 grams of butter, 55 grams of lard. So again, you'll notice I'm using the lard, and 1 orange, which I have already zested and I've added into the sieved flour, and 25 grams of caster sugar, and the juice of the orange. I don't know whether we're going to use the whole lot of the juice. We'll see as it's coming together. But first things first, because I'm working with lard, I'm going to wear some gloves. Yes, Scooter. They're not made quick enough for you. Scooter's gone off on a mission. I think it's Harold the pheasant is paying us a visit. And so Scooter is. So the butter and the lard has been in the freezer, and I've diced it into small cubes. So we want to work with this as quickly as we possibly can, because we don't want to melt all the butter and the lard. So I'm just going to rub this in until it resembles fine breadcrumbs, and that should take a few minutes. Just using your fingertips. Okay, so now I've incorporated the butter and the lard, and it just looks like fine breadcrumbs. Chris can come and have a closer look so you can see how that's looking. And that's literally what it looks like. Okay, and now I'm going to add into that the 25 grams of sugar, and I'm just going to give that a stir with the knife. Okay, and then I'm going to squeeze the juice of the orange, and we will start to add that in. We will see how much we need just to bring the pastry together. It absolutely smells amazing. The orange zest in the pastry really, really adds a lovely Christmassy. Okay, so we'll start to add the orange juice in and bring it together. We'll add 1/2 in first. Okay, and I've squeezed the other half of the orange because I think we're definitely going to need it in here. So that's starting to come together nicely. So now we'll bring all that together in the bowl, and just cutting it in with the knife as you go. Okay, and this will need approximately 30 minutes or slightly longer in the fridge just to rest once it's complete, and then we'll be ready to roll it out. So I'm just going to use my hands now and start bringing this together into a bowl. Okay, so I've brought this together to a nice bowl, and I don't know if Chris wants to come in close with the camera, and you can see the lovely flecks of orange, which is the orange zest, just running through that pastry, and you can see them there. They look amazing, and it smells so Christmassy. It's wonderful. So we're going to pop that back in the bowl now, and that's going to go into the fridge to rest for half an hour. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling our mince pies. Pastry's been chilled, so I'm going to cut literally the pastry in half. And we're going to use half, and we're going to flour our work surface, lightly flour our work surface, dusting of flour. And for this, we're going to need a rolling pin. We're going to need 2 pastry cutters, 2 scone cutters, one slightly bigger than the other one. The slightly bigger one will be for the top because remember it has to go over the filling and cover the filling. So the smaller one for the bottom. A little bowl of water, cold water for to seal the edges, some egg wash and a brush to brush over the top, and our lovely homemade mincemeat. Now you can, and before last year, I used to just buy shop-bought mincemeat, and I used to grate a couple of apples in there, and I used to just add lots of brandy. So you can do that also. Or if you want, if anybody wants to know the recipe for the mincemeat, I can let them know that. Just ask me in the comments. So we also have a baking tray lined with parchment paper. You can use your muffin tins, your fairy cake tins, whatever you like. I'm not going to use them today. I'm just going to use the tray. And I'm going to keep them looking nice and homemade. Also, I don't like mince pies to have huge deep filling. Maybe some people do. I don't particularly like it. I like them to have enough filling but not too much. Okay, so now we've got our pastry. We're going to give it a roll out, and it's lovely because you can see the flecks of orange in there and the flecks of butter and the flecks of lard in there. So it's going to be a nice short crusty pastry, hopefully. A little bit more flour. Keep your board well floured because otherwise you'll end up with severe sticking problems, and we don't want that because the butter content in the pastry is high. And the same with everything. You judge yourself. There's no hard and fast rules as to how thick the pastry should be. You have it as thick or as thin as you like. But remember, if you do it quite thick, you're going to get slightly less mince pies out of it. So, okay. I'm happy enough with that. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my tray closer to me and have it here. And then as I cut, so remember you're using the smaller cutter to cut your bottoms, okay? Okay, so I've cut out my 15 bottoms and my 15 tops, and they're all here ready. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe the edges of the bottoms with a little water, and that's purely just to help the tops to stick when I put the tops on there. Okay, so just dab with your finger around the edge, a little water, okay? And then once we've done that, we're going to pop our filling in the center. Now, you can make these slightly bigger if you like. Again, I like my mince pies to be quite small. I don't like them to go on forever. Okay, so now we'll put some of our delicious filling into the center of each one. Okay. And about a teaspoon of each of the filling into the center of each one. Lovely, lovely fruit in there, and apples and raisins and sultanas and vegetable suet and some lovely chopped almonds. So we have every flavour going on there imaginable. And don't worry if a little bit spills out to the side or some oozes out of the side. It all adds to the character of the homemade look. Okay, so you just place the tops on top of your bottom, and then with your fingers you just manipulate the tops so that they stick down onto the bottoms. Okay, and then that way you're sealing in all that lovely goodness. This is why you keep the top slightly bigger than the bottom, so that it covers the filling as well. And once you feel content that you've sealed them, then you can... The next stage, once you've done this, is you need to go and turn your oven on full to preheat your oven. It needs to be nice and hot for these. So as we know, pastry needs to go into a nice hot oven. Okay, so I would put it on full whilst you're egg washing, and then I would put it on to about 190 and cook them for about 15 minutes. But just keep an eye on them, and you want them to be a nice golden colour. I'm not a fan of very pale looking mince pies. I like them to have a nice golden colour. And I feel that this for me, is more than enough for a mince pie. Some people out there might look and think, oh, they're very miserable looking mince pies, but I feel that filling is more than enough. Any more than that, and I think it starts to make you feel like you want to leave it and eat it another day. And sure, we can always have two. You can do whatever design you want. You can get a little fork and pop it around the edges if you like, but I think just to pinch them together like this is nice. Okay, so our tops are on. So now I'm literally going to give them just a little lick with some nice egg wash. And that's literally just a raw egg beaten in the bowl. And just brush them. It helps to give them a nice golden colour. Okay, so the timer's gone off and the mince pies have had 20 minutes in the top shelf of a very hot aga. So a nice hot oven, it needs to be very hot. And they smell divine and they look absolutely gorgeous because they're very hot. And they look divine. So lovely golden brown colour. And to serve, I'm simply going to sprinkle them with a little icing sugar, a sprig of holly, and you can give fresh cream, buttercream, custard, whatever takes your fancy. But I'm going to take them off this now and put them onto a wire cooling rack and let them cool down.